Good morning, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. We got a great show for you. Two massive guests. Deebo Samuel, the rookie sensation of the San Francisco 49ers out of South Carolina University, will be joining us here in about 29 minutes. And in the second hour, Hall of Famer, legend, former basketball player Antonio Gates will be joining us to talk about Phil Rivers, his journey as a Charger, and why have the Chargers not signed Cam Newton yet? That is going to be a big question and a topic of conversation today around all places. Cam Newton is obviously meant to be a Charger. Now, am I the only one saying this? No, there's others that are saying it, and the others that are saying it aren't always right, and I'm not always right either. I thought Tom Brady was going to be a Charger, and the reason why I thought the Chargers would be in the market for a big-name quarterback is because it's going to look bad in that stadium next year. It could look very, very bad. Now, we had Austin Eckler on the show a couple days ago, and he talked about how at the StubHub Stadium where the MLS team plays, the Los Angeles Galaxy or whatever, and that's where the Chargers were playing, and it was kind of an empty stadium for a couple games, and then there was a lot of away teams fans in the stadium, and it looked bad for the Chargers. It was like the Chargers for the last couple years in LA have had away games every single week. It's just the way it's gone. I mean, you already know Phil Rivers was driving from San Diego to LA. He was their starting quarterback. I mean, it hasn't been a smooth transition in Los Angeles. Austin Eckler said that since the stadium was so small, the prices were all the way jacked up. So the Chargers fans, even though there might have been more than it appeared on television, weren't willing to spend like $1,000 for them and their family to go to a game, which makes a lot of sense, by the way. So in a bigger stadium next year with cheaper prices, you'd hope. Who knows how the pricing of tickets is going to go after this entire world that we're living in right now? Will they be able to sell more tickets next year in that brand new stadium? Or are they going to be an empty stadium like the Rams were at the beginning whenever they were in the Coliseum way back in the day? This is all very interesting. And you would think Cam Newton, a guy Anthony Lynn likes a mobile quarterback, Tyrod Taylor's already there. If Cam Newton is healthy at the age of 30, which a physical he just took in Atlanta says he is healthy and hungrier than he's ever been to reprove himself, because I think he thinks that the Carolina Panthers potentially screwed him. Screwed Cam Newton. Didn't let him go earlier. They actually made the announcement that they're going to go forward with Cam Newton as their quarterback after meeting with him and chatting with him. And that might have been a decision that they didn't fully know yet, but they wanted to say that just to give the optics that they were set. So if somebody wanted to trade for Cam Newton, they would be in a better leverage position. Maybe that's what they were doing. But instead, what they end up doing is they end up cutting him after a lot of signings happen, after a lot of openings are already filled. Nick Foles already went to the Bears, right? Now, it came out that the Carolina Panthers were trying to deal Cam Newton to the Bears but couldn't get anything in return. So we'll find out if that's true or not. But Nick Foles goes to the Bears. Phillip Rivers goes to the Colts. Tom Brady obviously goes to Tampa. If Cam Newton's name was out there, would Cam Newton been a topic of conversation for all these people? I would assume. Because now Cam Newton's the topic of conversation for Dolphins fans, Jaguars fans, Chargers fans, potentially Patriots fans. I don't know if Bill Belichick would love Cam Newton, but maybe he would. I don't know. I have never played for Bill Belichick, and I've never been a teammate of Cam Newton's. I've only got to watch the Amazon Prime thing where he is a awesome. It seems like every day he has the energy. He's dancing. He's loud. He's the guy. He is your team's maestro. I watched him whenever he played us down there in Carolina. He was the maestro of the entire state of Carolinas. He was just everything he wanted to do. It was like what Peyton used to do. When Peyton, we had the ball on offense and there was a successful play and they were trying to run hurry up and everybody was cheering, Peyton would do this number and the entire state of Indiana would shut up. Babies would stop crying in hospitals. That's what happened whenever Cam Newton was orchestrating that game that night. That was whenever he was flying for like 6 yards at a time. That was when his celebrations were 5 to 6 minutes long. Somehow, some way, his celebrations were longer than everybody else's, and he gave a ball to everybody, right? So I think that's why the NFL couldn't crack down on him, because they allowed celebrations. Were his getting a little bit long? I'm sure Roger Goodell, every time he was watching them, was just like looking at his clock, like, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? And then he would give the ball to the child, and Roger's like, can't do anything about that, because he just gave away 400 balls, basically, to children. But I think Cam Newton is a guy that would be a perfect face of a franchise if you're going to a new stadium for the Chargers. We said that about Tom Brady, too, and we were wrong. Had no idea he was going to end up a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I don't think Tampa Bay Buccaneers knew that Tom Brady was going to become a Buccaneer, but I think Cam Newton is a guy you want on your team. I mean, we talked to Ted Ginn Jr. just yesterday, who I'm a massive Ted Ginn Jr. fan. I'm going to try to get his jersey the next place to go, put it up in the office somewhere.
I like that.
He was good. I did not expect Ted Ginn Jr. to be as awesome as he was yesterday. He just wants to play football. He said Cam Newton, whoever gets him is getting a guy that's a champ. He said he got to watch him. He got to do the whole thing. I'm pumped up for that. But will the Chargers make that move? Tom Telesco, the general manager of the Chargers, is he a guy from the Bill Polian tree that would want his quarterback to be a very charismatic quarterback in Los Angeles? He said he can move forward with Tyrod Taylor. Like Diggs said right before we went live, why not just give him a 2-year deal, front-loaded? If it doesn't work out, you're off the hook after another year. Maybe you guys, if it doesn't work out good enough, maybe you guys are in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Trevor Lawrence, tried to raise a little money for coronavirus victims. Clemson's compliance board cracked down on him, said he can't do that. The NCAA is going to hate this. And then the NCAA, by the way, Mark Emmert said, you can do it, but we're definitely going to have to monitor that account. GoFundMe, by the way, is a great way for players because you can't get the $100 handshakes anymore that I heard happened back in the day in the SEC. The $1,000 handshakes that used to happen back in the day never happened to me as a kicker in Bunner, West Virginia. It's kind of a shame, but if it happened to my teammates, I'm happy for them. But now with GoFundMe in Venmos and Cash Apps, oh my God, I couldn't even fathom the amount of money just bouncing. Mark Emmert thinks he's getting guys. No. You're getting God, I think, by these. I think there's and that's why the GoFundMe, the NCAA compliance people are like, yeah, you can't just shove it in people's faces that you're raising money from other people. But Trevor Lawrence being a good human, by the way, doing what he's doing. Now the NCAA is partnering with him, I'd assume. They're going to raise a lot of money for coronavirus victims. That's a good kid. So not only is he great at football, not only is he the prototype, not only is he a good human, he's going to have to bounce back after a little adversity here after losing to LSU, but he's going to be the number 1 pick next year. And if the Chargers stink bad enough and they don't think Cam Newton will work and you have no fans and stuff like that, just get Trevor Lawrence next year. Do whatever you can to make a move for Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why they wouldn't go try to get him right now.
Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense ticket-wise, like for the new stadium, because even the Rams were 1 year removed from going to the Super Bowl, and they had a hard time filling the Rose Bowl. And if Austin Eckler was saying, yeah, the tickets were expensive at StubHub, but I assume at the Rose Bowl they were normal, and the Rams had a hard time filling it there. And I don't know how many games a new stadium, like let's go to the new stadium and check it out, gets you as far as fans buying tickets before, if your team stinks, they stop going.
I always wondered why. That was at Tone Diggs, by the way, at Nick Morado also here, Jason McAfee, Cuban Zeet, Evan Foxy, Boston Connors on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. It always, teams used to hang Los Angeles over their state or city's head, right? If they wanted a new stadium or they wanted something and they wanted the public money, whether it was the city or the state government's money, tax money, they would hang over the head that they're going to go to Los Angeles. Like, we'll take this team right to Los Angeles tomorrow. You want no new stadium, huh? You don't want to, no big deal. We'll go to Los Angeles tomorrow. That happened everywhere. That was what a lot of teams did. Now, some places didn't give in, and they obviously, St. Louis lost their team. Oakland didn't give in, lost their team. It's like new stadiums are the thing that kind of drive the NFL at this point, right? Mm-hmm. New stadium in LA. But I didn't understand the allure of going to Los Angeles. I think because it's such a big city. But I think Los Angeles is a melting pot of humans. Like all the people from their towns that want to make it in Hollywood, they go to LA. So LA is a collection, and it's actually a pretty cool community, right? Because you see people from everywhere. You meet people from everywhere. So to just drop them in a city where a lot of people from Pittsburgh, they have their home ties, and they go out there. And that's like a cool thing about watching the NFL in Los Angeles on some Sundays is you have fans from everywhere there. So just to drop a team in there and be like, hey, this is your team now. I think that was always an aggressive move, and I never truly understood it. But if you win, they're going to come out and support because they become fans. But if you're just a mediocre team, I think Los Angeles is almost like a death sentence for a team potentially.
Let alone two teams.
That's what I don't know, man.
Yeah, because if one of them stinks too, you got to assume half the fans for that team are just gonna be like, the Rams are better. So
this one, it's like the Jets and Giants.
Yes,
Lakers and Clippers.
They've both been around for so long. So long. Lakers, Clippers been around a long time. Jets, Giants been around a long time. Mets, Yankees, right? Mm-hmm. They've been around a long time. There's cities that have the massive cities, obviously, but those are like historic franchises who've had generations of fans. To have just two new teams, you're immediately competing against each other. So if you're the Chargers, it's like, okay, from a business sense, we have to be better than the Rams. Do we have to be better than every other AFC team to achieve our ultimate goal of getting to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl? Yeah, if you're the Chargers, you have to do that. But let's make our first goal being better than the other team in LA so we can build a business around this thing. It's a very intriguing part because the Rams could be on a quick They're unloading. They don't have a lot of cap space. They don't have a lot of money. They are potentially on the downswing of things, which could be good for the Chargers, which even more so. You get Cam Newton in there and they win. You have a charismatic start. Your quarterback is a Charger. The other team stinks because they don't know how to pay people. And you're winning. I mean, bingo, bango, the Chargers are a new team of LA.
Also, if you're the Chargers or if you're any team who possibly could use a quarterback right now, and Cam got issued healthy, I guess, yesterday, and you're going to get him for cheap, a 30-year-old MVP. Like, that's just on the football field. Yeah. Seems to make sense.
It feels like everybody is in agreement, too, that Cam Newton's going to be good when he comes back. It feels like everybody. They're always like, would you take a rookie quarterback that you don't know, draft, or would you take Cam Newton? And it feels like a lot of people's answers that study football pretty heavily go, we take Cam Newton just because we know what Cam Newton's going to do. You have no idea what a rookie draft guy is going to do. But the payments are a much different process. Yes. So it depends on how your cap space is. I think that's the biggest thing. That question was being asked. Would you rather take Cam Newton coming back, trying to rejuvenate, reinvigorate himself, introduce himself to a new team, new franchise, new fans, new teammates? Or would you take a rookie draft pick? It's like, well, how much money do I have? Do I have enough money to pay Cam Newton? Because if I have enough money to pay Cam Newton, I probably would try to get in on the Tom Brady sweepstakes as well and the Teddy Bridgewater sweepstakes potentially. But if I have enough money to pay Cam Newton, I think I'm going to take Cam Newton over a rookie draft pick just because I feel like we've learned enough from Cam Newton that his upside could be incredible. Now, could the downside be bad? Yeah, but we're in the same position we were in last year then if we're having this conversation at all. I think you roll the dice with Cam Newton and make him move forward.
Were you surprised that when it came out that they tried trading him to the Bears, that the Bears essentially picked Foles over Cam? Cam had 1 year left worth around $20 million on his contract. Foles, you have to pay 20 for the next 3 years.
And the Carolina Panthers said they reached out to the Bears to see if they would make that move. So it's like, what did the Bears say? Now, granted, we know that the Bears make great decisions.
Oh, yeah.
When Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were available, they said, give us Mitchell Trubisky. Foxy, there's no reason for you to bury the Bears like that. So, but by the way, nobody could have known what Patrick Mahomes was going to do. Nobody did. That's why he slid all the way to the third round or whatever. Deshaun Watson, people are calling him Michael Jordan of football, but that has been said about a lot of people, a lot of coaches, so you would never known that. Mitchell Trubisky, he was really good a year ago. Something happened this past year where he got really bad. So I'm not saying they make all bad decisions. Khalil Mack signing was obviously a good one. But to pick Nick Foles over Cam Newton is a very interesting decision that had to be made by the Chicago Bears brass, and they did that. I just feel like with that defense, get a quarterback that can run the ball too and just drain the clock. That feels like that's potentially the right move. Or are they scared of that Cam Newton wasn't going to come back? The doctor in Atlanta who went to the same med school that I think all these other people went to said, he's good. He's ready to go. And he's going to, I think that's a bad decision.
I don't think they're ready to move on from Mitch yet. I think they wanted a veteran who they think Mitch could possibly battle and win against to make themselves look better. Look at Pace. If Pace brings in Foles and Trubisky somehow, some way outperforms them, he's going to look like a genius.
Oh, so he's setting himself up to look like a smarter guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, the Jaguars paid this guy $80 million, okay? I didn't do that. I didn't do that with Mitchell Trubisky. And look at our Mitch. Look at our baby boy Mitch. You guys are always comparing him to Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. No. Let's compare him to some other quarterbacks that have been paid. Like Big Richard Nick Foles down in Jacksonville, a Super Bowl MVP. My guy Mitch is better than him. And I'll eat that $60 million we got to pay just to prove that point. I love that by pay. If he's that spiteful and making that move, I love that move.
That's kind of very similar to is like Tannehill. Like the Dolphins paid this guy $110 million. If he comes in and Mariota can't beat out this guy, then he's not the guy.
Tannehill did, by the way.
Yeah.
Tannehill did beat out Mariota.
And if Foles does the same to Mariota or to Trubisky, then same situation.
Nick Foles already paid, though. Tannehill got repaid again.
Yeah.
$113 million for that guy. Good for him. All right, we got to get to a break. 15 minutes after the hour. We have to get to an early break for the next one, too, because Debo has a hard out. We're informed of a hard out. which, by the way, I respect and appreciate. Yeah. If you got somewhere to be there. Unless during this time period. Shouldn't be there. Probably got a game. He's a gamer. So I actually appreciate that if he has to get the hell out of here. We'll talk to him in about 10 minutes. Antonio Gates in the second hour. Some phone calls. Our guy Ty is still at home. Self-quarantining. T's and P's to him and Murph hanging out on the bed right now, I bet. That's his dog. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Good sell. I'm done. Did it. The son of a bitch did it. Didn't he? This is what happens whenever you battle against me, Lisa Mattress. You know what I mean? Dead! Good workout today, boys. You want to fornicate with me? No, you don't. No, you don't. 1, 2, 3. Fuck it! Let's go! It took the breath out of me, to be honest with you. Still undefeated, though. Who's next? One fucking page.
I don't have to worry about the coronavirus anymore.
Like a fucking bomb went off. It's like,
Dude, I saw there's the fucking net. Oh, dude, what's going on?
Everyone's a comedian, all right? Steve Jobs used to dip his feet in toilet water randomly.
I bet they still smelled better than yours. Dude.
Yours is a woman?
I
Are
can
you? You're a
see
dame?
Tony's brain cells just exploding into thin air.
Do you think that steer ever looks back at you and goes, son of a
Is that when you
bitch,
tie
you
the
got
legs?
big
right
one.
after?
I'm sold. I'm in. He got me.
Suck it, all you guys.
Outside of
Jame, duty, mensch.
These guys got in there, undid their suitcases, just dumped all their. Well, you have to
Well, yeah,
remember.
not for me.
What's the matter with a
Jeez, son of a bitch, can I not get the alcoholic cowboys?
And, babe, it's time to go to war.
Welcome to the pod.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down on the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the 2 subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Leave the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big thigh. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Crack a fit, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. What? Expected this?
With home security, there's two ways you could go about protecting your home. There's a traditional way where you wait weeks for a technician to do a messy installation that costs a small fortune, or there's the other way, SimpliSafe. SimpliSafe is everything you need in a home security system. It's award-winning protection, 2-time winner of the CNET Editor's Choice Awards. SimpliSafe blankets your whole home in safety. You get comprehensive protection for your entire home. Outdoor cameras and doorbells alert you to anyone approaching your home. Entry, motion, and glass breaking sensors guard inside. You barely notice it's there. But what's truly remarkable is you can set up the system all by yourself. Anyone can do it. It takes 30 minutes to an hour tops, and there's absolutely no trade-offs to your safety. You'll have an army of highly trained security experts ready to dispatch police to your home at a moment's notice 24/7. And it's only 50 cents a day with no contracts. That's why The Verge calls SimpliSafe the best home security system. Go to simplisafe.com/Pat today and you'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. You've got nothing to lose. Go now and be sure to go to simplisafe.com/Pat. That's simplisafe.com/Pat.
Thank you, Diggs. Thank you, SimpliSafe. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Wednesday, March 25th. The Chinese Basketball Association will be delaying their restart. They had been forcing their American players to come back a couple weeks ago. The American players were saying no. China was then saying that the Chinese Basketball Association will be kicking off soon. They have delayed that, as has the Olympics, the NBA, the MLS, the NHL, the Aussie Rules Football, AFL.
That one was tough.
That one was heartbreaking.
Oh.
Anyways, we're still going, though. Debo Samuel joining us here in a few minutes. Also a phone call from Michigan. Jason, what's up, pal? Jason in Michigan.
Hey, Pat, how you doing?
I'm not too shabby, Jason. How are you, pal?
I'm not too bad. I'm at work right now, so I'm living the dream.
You shouldn't be. Jason, you shouldn't be.
No,
what essential job do you have, Jason? I just heard a saw going off in the background.
I work for a grocery store chain.
Okay.
Myers.
Okay.
I work at the warehouse.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
Jason!
We appreciate you, Jason. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, I'm doing what I can.
Attaboy. Kind of came out.
So my question is about the Detroit Lions. What do the Lions have to do to be kind of relevant again?
Who cares?
Sell the team.
A lot of things.
Move.
I mean, a lot of things, Jason.
Matt Patricia's our guy. We love Matty Stafford. I'm sure the Lions fans are incredible humans. We got one diehard in the office. Lions stooge, Foxy. And just feels like that's a team that's never going to be successful. Even whenever they had Kid Rock performing at halftime, and Gene Simmons was trying his best, and Ninja was trying to push the Lions, Eminem was trying to push the Lions, and now the band I Prevail is trying to push the Lions. It's just not going to happen. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry to the Lions fans.
Thank you.
That you were born in an area where the team just kind of inept, dude. They just kind of stink. They don't know what they do. They had one of the greatest of all time. He retired young. See ya, get me out of here.
2 times. Twice.
Had another greatest of all time. He retired young. They refused to pay him.
Yeah.
Have a guy in quarterback who's going to accrue for probably the most yards in the history of the NFL without winning a Super Bowl. He's going to pass Dan Marino at some point, I assume. And now he has a broken back in Matty Stafford. I mean, the pieces all seem to potentially be there at some point. Had a good defense at one point.
Yep.
Brought in a defensive mastermind. Defense can't really stop anybody. It just feels like the puzzle is never going to be completed. Just always going to have a missing piece or 7 or 10. Just feels like that's the case. But I respect the fanhood, and I like what Matt Patricia's potentially almost building up there, aside from the fact that Darius Slay got upset that he said he was sucking another man's crank.
Would you would you rather be the Bengals and Lions, where you've recently been to the playoffs, but it's been 28 years since you've won a playoff game, or would you rather be the Browns, who haven't been to the playoffs in 17 seasons?
I think I'd rather be the Browns.
Yeah.
Because whenever they win a playoff game or go to the playoffs, it's going to be a massive celebration. For the Lions and Bengals, it's like, well, we were here 3 years ago. We're going to lose. Same old story. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, but for the Browns, they get there. It's like, okay, last year it was the Bud Light cooler that was locked shut. This year we're making the playoffs. Like, everything's going. For the Bengals and Lions, they've had a little success.
Yeah, it's a tease.
It just is never. You can take the success. You just can't hold the success. You know, classic problem.
It's tough.
Reservations at restaurants and for the Detroit Lions. Zito, I think we should probably call it Debo.
You got it.
Yeah, probably call it Debo.
Yeah, it's probably smart.
Well, we have a hard out with him, 45. So I would like to get more with Debo Samuel than less than Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Before we get to Debo Samuel, let's go down to Blake in Texas. Blake in the Lone Star State. What's going on?
Patty, what are we doing?
Not much, just talking sports.
My question is that we got the draft coming up and all the good stuff, right?
Love that, by the way.
And with everything that's gone on in baseball with Manfred, do you think this will be the first year, if the fans were there, that Goodell would not have gotten booed?
No, Goodell would have got booed. I mean, that's just a staple. It's an American institution like Chinese buffets being good are. Yep. I mean, everything that is aligning for the draft. Great question by Blake, by the way. Don't like Rob Manfred, obviously stooge, baseball commissioner. That guy, whenever we watch him hold press conferences, I think we all had a moment where we were like, you know what? At least Goodell isn't that guy. You know what I mean? Goodell could be that. Goodell is an incredible speaker. He's in a very difficult position to make decisions that are inevitably going to piss people off regardless of what he does. But he gets paid a ridiculous salary to do so. So there's no feeling bad for Goodell. But I think after watching Manfred, you had a little bit more respect for Roger Goodell and how he does things. But this NFL draft moving forward, in a council of general managers told Roger Goodell that they would like to, move back the draft due to COVID-19. This was the NFL's general manager subcommittee unanimously recommended to Commissioner Goodell that the draft be moved back due to COVID-19. Goodell looked them right in their faces and said, do your jobs better. Draft staying on schedule. We're not budging for anybody. April 23rd through the 25th, the dates have been stuck for the draft. The league sources are going to keep it going, and all the general managers and all the scouts that aren't allowed to travel and visit with the players, they're like, you want us to draft these guys? How do we know what the hell? We hired a Navy SEAL last year to interview these guys so we can find out if they pass the character personality test that we're looking to have in our locker room. We got guys that we don't even know if they're healthy. We'd like to get our doctors that you pay millions of dollars to their hands on. And the owners are like, forge the river, bro. Forge the river, bro. We don't want to hear it. Do your jobs better.
Goodell's like, you had the combine. You got hours and hours of tape to watch. Do your job.
Do your job. That's not on us. That's on you. That's your job to do that. Our job is to let you know that we're not moving. We're not budging. COVID-19 will not defeat the draft.
No, never.
I'm excited to see what they do with the draft. Speaking of draft, Amanda was just drafted a year ago. Who in his head? No. Zeta, you were just giving me a thumbs up, I thought.
Thumbs down.
Oh, well, did he not answer?
3 times.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe he's on another call until 10:30.
Yeah, maybe he's on a call till 10:30.
Call back at 10:30.
Then he has an out. What's he promoting? Do we know what he's promoting?
Nope,
Is he promoting
didn't say anything.
Is he on a promotional tour right now?
I'm finding out right now.
Anyways, Debo Samuel was drafted just a year ago and had an immediate impact on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, did we know who Debo Samuel was going into the draft? Yeah, of course we did, because we're big. We're college football analysts.
Oh, yeah.
We knew exactly who it was.
Spoiler, not his real name.
It's not.
No, yeah, I know. His grandma actually called him Debo, I believe, because he was just taking stuff from all the other kids.
Best nicknames always come from the grandma.
Always.
I don't, by the way, I'm not 100% sure if it was the grandma or the mom or the dad. I don't remember who it was, but they talked about it Super Bowl week, and he met Debo. He met actual Debo, and Debo rode up on a bike and gave him like the stamp of approval, like, yeah, you're allowed to be Debo because you just bully everybody. He does too. He's a slant god, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He'll catch a slant, have 5 people on him.
Get up a rail.
He just drag and see you later. Slant god.
By his father.
His father gave him the nickname?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he was just stealing everybody's stuff. As a kid, he'd just walk around and take people's stuff.
Hey, when you're that fast, you can get away.
I get a little Debo ass down here. It's a great nickname. Let's go to Grant in Dallas. Grant, what's going on, pal?
Hey, Pat, how we doing today?
Not too shabby. Yesterday, we couldn't get a hold of Whitworth. Today, we can't get a hold of Debo. I mean, I feel like we're getting blackballed a little bit, but, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I know. I was a little disappointed. I'm a big 49ers fan. I was really looking forward to hearing from Debo, but it's tough. I know we'll catch him next time. I just wanted to talk about this Chargers quarterback situation. I see a lot of mock drafts that talk about them potentially taking Justin Herbert. A lot of talk around them and Cam Newton. Both of them aren't really the same style of quarterback, but they already have a Cam Newton-style quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. So do you see them drafting Herbert and sticking with Taylor? or potentially picking up Cam Newton?
Great question, Grant. I did see that on a lot of people's mock drafts. The Chargers are taking a quarterback. Air Bear, 6'5", can sling the rock from Oregon, but he hasn't ever been outside of Eugene, Oregon. So do we know he'll be able to handle a big city? That was an actual question that was asked to him. I think that's a very dumb question. Good flow. I didn't love what I seen whenever they zoomed into his face last year in a big game. And that's just me being an absolute idiot, a stooge. I didn't think he had the look of a guy that you would want in a big moment, but I guess he's an absolute stud, they say. Can sling the rock. He's athletic. He can move for 6'5". He has the build. He's going to be a great quarterback somewhere. Maybe Tom Telesco is 100% sold on that. We get this big, tall guy who can throw the rock, can be the face of our franchise moving forward. Although Los Angeles might not know him now, we know this is going to be a couple-year build anyways. Let's build around him instead of bringing in Cam Newton. I mean, that's a variant. By the way, this is what Tom Telesco gets paid to do, make these decisions. And it's a big one, especially whenever now Phillip Rivers, your ex-quarterback, just got signed to a $25 million deal with a team that's also in the AFC. I mean, these are big decisions that Tom Telesco is going to have to make. I personally, if I was in Tom Telesco's shoes, I'm not. I don't study the film. I don't have all the meetings with all the agents. I even grinded in the Bill Polian system to get my opportunity to be a general manager, whatever that type of world is like. I'd assume there's not a lot of sleeping and there's a lot of that. I'm not in it. I would take Cam Newton personally. So that's just what I would do. If he takes Air Bear, that's obviously a decision that he's thought about pretty heavily because a lot of eyes are going to be on the Chargers, what they do here in the next couple of weeks.
I agree. I would also take Cam, but in no way is Justin Herbert not an athlete. I mean, Cam ran a 4.6 at the combine. Herbert ran a 4.68. I mean, a little bit different body style, but
he's just taller. And Cam Newton, very tall, by the way. He's 6'4".
Cam's 6'5". Herbert is 6'6".
Okay, so, I mean, he said they're much different. Why? Because one's white? Is that what the guy in Dallas is saying?
Well, Cam's got like 20 more pounds.
And an MVP.
Been to a Super Bowl.
And he has a celebration already.
Gets it.
I mean, he dances.
He dabs.
Hey, when he scores touchdowns, by the way, I mean, it is a full.
Oh,
it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes sometimes. I'm like, you know what, though? He still got it. Like, it never felt like it was too much unless when you watch the game back on TV, you're like, this guy seems to be doing a lot more. He was celebrating during extra points. Graham Gano was kicking extra points, and the other side of the field would be going nuts because Cam would be basically in the middle of the field like this to the other half of the Gladiator Stadium. Graham Gano's kicking down here. Cam's on the other side like this, just like almost inciting a wave like with humans. It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome to watch. On TV, though, you can see how people would be like, do less.
And if you don't think he's doing that, if he comes back and starts.
Oh, that's when he's rolling, by the way. That's like the Cam Newton you want to have is the guy that's like just wide open, feeling good, confident, dominant. That's the Cam Newton you want. Now, granted, is that going to have to be a place where he fits? Right? Like I would assume Pete Carroll would be a coach that would love Cam Newton, right? He's been a guy who's been openly like, hey, we love everybody's personalities. We want you to be you. We want you to be shine. But I assume there's not a lot of places that are like that. And I'm only assuming that strictly because you think about the old whites that are making decisions. I mean, there's some places that probably are like, do less.
And there's even less when you think about now that almost all quarterback positions are filled.
And that's why people are saying that the Carolina Panthers screwed Cam Newton. They didn't bench him on his birthday, though, like the Bengals did to Andy Dalton with like an hour left before the trade deadline. Yes. I mean, that could have been – that was a little bit ruder. But then Tyrann Mathieu tweeted out that picture of the Carolina Panthers saying Cam Newton's our guy, and who's the other one?
It was
Nick Foles, maybe.
The business is business.
By the way, I sneezed into my elbow. Good work. I'm not some old stooge. We got to get to a break.
Could you see a situation where they sign Cam Newton and draft Air Bear so he could learn under him, or absolutely not?
Tyrod Taylor's over there. He's a good vet. Like if you draft Air Bear, you just have Tyrod Taylor be a vet.
Yep.
It was Josh, Arizona Cardinals quarterback stooge that went to Miami.
Oh, Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen.
He's not a stooge. The Rosen one is not a stooge.
UCLA.
Thank you.
I just don't want to put any shade on Miami.
Well,
no,
he's currently
went
at the
to Miami.
Dolphins.
Wow.
You know, these phones haven't been terrible today.
No. I've been letting them know. The screening has completely changed back here.
Oh, it's hard to get in the club now.
Big time. We're shutting people out.
You're checking IDs for real now.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest difference between the 18 and over bar and the actual adult bar is they look at the IDs, and the other places don't at college campuses.
Welcome to the adult bar.
Our show?
Oh, yeah.
Got a child running it. What up? That's Connor, by the way. You're a child. Hey, big Office Olympics tonight, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Big Office Olympics. We have a pizza basketball relay. Zito and I will each be eating a full frozen pizza. Connor and Foxy will be battling in a basketball relay, much like the kid in Montana State did.
Yep.
Much like the kid in Montana State did. Should be an electric time tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. We got to get to a break, but first.
When's the last time you driving through a storm and thought, wow, I love not being able to see when I drive?
I thought you were going to say drinking through a storm.
Never.
Every time.
Lately.
When was the last time you've been drinking through a storm? Well, was the virus a storm? So there's been people that have been hammering alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I've been getting tweets of people like 2, 3 a.m. Them videos like, your show, man, just meeting it. Stop talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, you probably haven't. Now driving in bad weather doesn't have to be a headache thanks to the new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades. These blades last through everything. Prove it. Michelin just put their new Endurance XT silicone wiper blades to the test.
Ultimate test.
On a world-breaking 16,000-mile drive from Alaska to Argentina just to show how durable these blades are. Rainier Zietlow was the man behind the wheel, and he put the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades through ice, snow, rain, thunder, and wind.
It's that thunder that really tests them.
Blades took all of it.
Thunder.
These blades
Lightning and the thunder.
are crafted for
Thunder.
extreme weather performance with an advanced quad-tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades.
Dwight
Michelin
Eisenhower.
Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance. Upgrade to the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today, only at Walmart.
They're really awesome. Bleeding Green Nation, which is a Philadelphia Eagles blog with a blue check mark. The belief is that the Eagles want a younger receiver who will mesh with Carson Wentz rather than a veteran who might have his own style of play. Bring him in young. Let's learn him up a little bit. It's not a bad. Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz on the same page. That's them reporting. Nobody knows if Carson Wentz actually said that. But they need some weapons. Unlike Aguilar, 38 minutes after the hour, we're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Little bearded Caucasian friend from Williamston, Michigan, known strictly by the word Foxy, will be taking on a free throw. He will have 3 goes at it, and if he gets to 10, we'll give away 1,000. If he gets to 15, we'll give away 2,000. If he gets all the way to 20 and exceeds 20, then you will win a share, potentially, of the $3,000. All right, so that's 2 goes. Bang, here we go. 3rd and final go for Evan Foxy. 4 in a row, he is in fuego. 5 in a row, he is lava. 6 in a row, he's harder than Joe Exotic somehow. 7, splash. There's 10. We're moving forward to the next phase. One more. We're giving away 2 G's to the commenters for 15 straight. 16 straight. Evan Fox showing up. 17 straight. The people at home are pulling for the kid. 18 straight with a bounce. Will he make 19? 19 straight, 20 for $3,000 in the the comment section. 20 straight. How many more can he go? Oh! So we'll give away the $3,000 for the 20, and then $100 for each one you hit afterwards. So it'll be $3,600, which you just earned for the people in the comment section who have probably mocked and ridiculed your terrible shooting of the past.
Yeah, I feel a little redeemed. I was nervous. You missed those first 2 and 5 shots total. That's not good. We found a rhythm.
You want to fornicate with me? You either get on the train or you're laying on the tracks getting run over. It's their sandbox. You gotta play by their rules. But at some point, Goodell has to come out and be like, yo, kick him out of the league. I do not get cramps in my hands when I'm writing checks.
He definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Work-life balance is a load of crap.
He's taking a bunch of average Joes.
Some of these younger guys, they're so confident in their ability that they don't think they need any advice.
Like, what are you doing? You don't see the best teams doing that.
It's just finding a way to be better today than you were yesterday.
One bad decision can affect the rest of your life.
Come on, Chicago! Let's hug it out, you little bitches!
If I would have had Aaron Donald at D tackle, they couldn't even line up and play football.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays, because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come. Let the beat drop. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. The Twitterverse has been active. One person on Twitter said that Diggs is looking like Zach Galifianakis. That's quite a shot, pal. I think that's not a compliment.
He looks good these days.
He's a movie star.
Race Legend 79, Bobby Pruitt tweets us and says, here's a hypothetical for Cam Newton. Best idea is for the Dallas Cowboys to sign Cam to a one-year deal, tag and then trade Dak to Miami for a couple of their first-round picks, get 2 players that can help right now this season, then offer a king's ransom to Deshaun Watson. He figured it out. Bobby Pruitt figured it out.
Yeah, Watson's going to New England, though. So
well, and remember, Tom Brady was going to the Dallas Cowboys at one particular point. Mm-hmm. Are the Dallas Cowboys in the market for another quarterback? Is that why they're not offering Dak Prescott the long-term money? Why won't Jerry Jones just write Dak Prescott a long-term deal? Has the guy not proven that he's the face of the star for the next 5 to 10 years? Has Dak Prescott, who has been underpaid his entire career, not proved that he's good enough to be the face of America's team, Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones says his hands don't get cramps from writing checks, and everybody's like, well, prove it then. You're paying everybody but the guy. Do you hate the guy? Is Jerry Jones trying to trade Dak Prescott? Is that why he's tagging him to get him the hell out of there? Mike McCarthy hates him? Is that what's going to happen? Or is it a simple $4 million a year difference that they both can't come to an agreement on. To be found out. To be determined. Found out too.
Yeah.
To be found out. TBFO, dude.
TBFO.
TBFO. To be found.
TBFO.
Let's go to Mike in Louisville. What's up, Mike?
Hey, so Connor said to bring the energy. I'm bringing the energy, all right? We're talking Ric Flair energy. Woo! Woo! All right, man. So I just want to say cheese and peace to Ty Smith, and thank you for being the monkey that dances for us every day. So I was listening to the DA show, waiting for your show to come on today, and he mentioned that there's a poll out there for the best CBS Sports radio show, and you guys are tied with DA right now for number one spot.
Who cares?
We didn't even mention it.
So here's what I'm thinking,
They
man.
didn't
You gotta get some votes in. Let's promote that thing, and so we can put you guys on top of DA.
DA ever win the Heisman of radio?
I don't think so. But the punter of the decade did.
Yeah, you're damn right. You're damn. All those things are fake. All those things. We almost won a tournament, the NIT of podcasts, and then we got slaughtered by
the bots.
I mean, we got no. I don't think they were bots, by the way. I think this army had been building and waiting. They were like the K-pop group of the podcast NIT tournament we were in. Now, none of the real podcasts were in it, so, I mean, if we would have won it, would we have celebrated? Absolutely, but you just can't talk about losing the NIT podcast. You can't be a finalist of the NIT podcast bracket champ. You win, you can celebrate, you can flex. You lose, you just have to act like it never happened. And with this particular poll, I mean, we got CBS sports stations dropping us. We're not even on in Indianapolis right now. We are in Indianapolis, and the CBS sports station in Indianapolis dropped us. So until that happens, I'd like a recount.
Yes.
By the way, we don't know where the poll is, but if you get bored enough to vote for that, we'll flex it. We want it. If we win, obviously. If we lose, we'll just never talk about it. Which is, by the way, standard operation in the sports media world. I like DA's show, by the way. It's not my style. It's not like a show like this at all. It's not like our show at all, which our show is just a bunch of babbling idiots about things. But I enjoyed meeting DA down at Radio Row. A lot different interaction than I thought it was going to be.
Who's that? David Allen.
No, that's he's a tailor, David Allen style, guy from Pittsburgh. Good suits. Great suits. Made me look good.
Oh, Danny Amendola.
Yeah, it's Amendolara.
Oh, good wide receiver.
It's Danny Amendolara.
Damon
Amendolara. DA. He just goes by, I know him by DA. He's on DA. Before us. After us, I think, is Rome. We're sandwiched by titans. How'd Roden feel down in Radio Row?
I got malaria.
Let's go to James in Pennsylvania. What's up, Jim?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say you guys are doing an awesome job. I love your show. Listen to it almost every day, so appreciate you. I just want to talk about, you guys think Carson Wentz is going to do, and if they need to get him some more weapons to throw the ball to. So.
Hey, Jim, are you in Philadelphia?
I live in, it's real close. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Okay. It smells like chocolate up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. People forget that Mr. Hershey, he went all in on that place. Nobody believed in him. He went all in. He spent $1 million. He was selling milk, I think, or something like that. He went all in.
Yeah, we got.
Go ahead.
We got Hershey Kisses for Life post.
Jimmy.
If he was in Philadelphia, I was going to ask about that purge that's going on.
Yeah.
They got no laws in Philadelphia.
Literally.
What's that sound? What's that purge sound?
That one.
They're done.
The alarm.
That's going on in Philadelphia right now. It's going down. Basement, I guess. A lot of college football teams have that as their third down sound.
Oh, yeah.
Bearcats. Row.
Cincinnati Bearcats played it. Remember when we were out there training camp?
UCLA?
That's who they were playing when we went out there.
That's what it was.
You're 100% right. Cincinnati Bearcats, we met Mike Bone there. Mike Bone, now the athletic director of the USC operation out there. What's that?
It's a war zone map.
A boneyard match is happening between AJ Styles and The Undertaker at WrestleMania, by the way. Boneyard match. What is that? Nobody knows. Stick around and watch when nobody else is watching. Live. Let's go to Andrew in Cleveland. Andrew, what's going on over there in the land, pal?
Hey, how we doing today, boys?
Not too shabby. Andrew, how are you?
Good. So I just had a quick hypothetical for you. With the Cowboys losing an anchor, on their offensive line, Travis Frederick, to retirement, how do you feel about replacing them with an absolute unit 10-year veteran who's currently wandering around the Arizona desert, AQ Shipley.
Bingo, Andrew. We thought the same thing. And then you got to remember that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys like their guys big. Big boys. That Dallas Cowboys offensive line is a bunch of real specimen of individuals. I'm surprised Laramie Tunsil didn't end up there with those lungs that he has, to be honest with you. Frederick was 6'4" or something like that, 315 pounds, 6'3", 315. They are off the bus. The Dallas Cowboys are always going to win. Coming off of the bus, the Dallas Cowboys are always going to be big. There's some teams that are a little bit smaller, a little bit faster, a little bit different build. Just like in the NBA, there's some teams that are big. There's some small ball, big ball. In the NFL, there's a lot of that too. And in college football, even more so. You see some teams like that Temple Owls team, whenever they were warming up on the field against, they were East Carolina, I think. All the college kids would come out with, shirts off for warm-ups early, especially East Carolina. It was like 700 degrees with 400% humidity. It was really hot down there. And these Temple dudes came on the field, and I was like, East Carolina's going to lose by 400 points. And I thought back to our West Virginia team. Our West Virginia team was always smaller than everybody else. And you think back to my Colts team, we're always like kind of smaller than everybody else. It's very interesting how you can't always win just getting off the bus, but you know that some places are only going to take monsters. And the Dallas Cowboys are one of those teams. The offensive line are big dudes. That's just the way it goes. They got Zeke Eaton back there. They got a new offensive guru in Mike McCarthy. They're always going to have a good offensive line, but replacing Travis Frederick would be tough. We would love to have AQ Shipley be the center of the Dallas Cowboys. But I think if you even asked AQ Shipley, he would say, probably don't have the right body to be in the NFL, but also for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they're all like 6'4", at least.
They're monsters. That's just a big group of dudes. That's just a big group of dudes. The Dallas Cowboys offensive line will always be a staggering group.
But AQ plays big.
AQ does play. He plays with great leverage, too, especially if you – imagine if he was standing next to those dudes, though. That line would go boom, and then
Deep V,
double V, down to where AQ's bald head would be. And then he would be a little bit – he's 285, though, now. He's in the best shape he's ever been. Don't let him get in better shape. That guy might be a fullback next year for someone. That position's coming back. Adam in Florida, last call of the hour. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, Debo kind of blew us off today. Whitworth blew us off yesterday. I mean, we're going straight into quarantine after leaving the office. I mean, everything could be better, but, there's only one way to look at this, and his life is good. How's things going down there in Florida? You got anybody off the beach yet? What the hell's going on?
I'm staying indoors, so I don't know what they're all doing. People here in Florida were crazy before this, so they're still crazy.
I respect that. What do you want to talk about? Oh, the music got him.
Adam.
What's that?
You're right there, Adam. You're right there.
Adam, you still there?
The music's actually super loud in their ears.
Hello, I'm still here.
Adam, what do you want to talk about?
I'm getting some sort of static.
It's a song.
That's why people are writing off James Winston.
Oh. Because just a little adversity pops up and they can't handle it.
Yep. Now he knows. Firsthand.
The earpiece went out.
You just can't throw 30 picks and expect them to pay you the same amount as somebody who doesn't. Now, if that was the second year of his contract, third year of his contract, and he had another year to prove that he wouldn't be the same turnover machine that he was last year, I think people would be much more willing. But with that QB market, in the limited amount of teams that need quarterback, we all kind of figured that Jameis was going to have to be a backup. But whenever he gets his chance to play again, which will happen, will Jameis, with his new LASIK eye surgery eyes, be able to stop throwing it to the other team? That's all everybody wants to know, and we'll find out. Bruce Arians took quite a shot. We'll talk about that in a second hour. Well, Tom Brady was there, and then Teddy Bridgewater, and if that was then we would have got Jameis and Bruce. We're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. It's dumb.
Coronavirus ain't stopping us from getting a fucking pump on, all right? First, let's get some push-ups in. We up, we up, we up, we up, we up, we up, we up. That's one. When I dip, you dip, we 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 dip. Oh, God. That's what I thought. Now we'll all sit for about 20, 30 minutes straight. And that's it. Some of you might be thinking, that sounds a lot like a prison workout. And that might be where I learned this one night for an alleged incident. But stay in shape. Don't let COVID-19 boss you around.
What? Hi, how's it going? Sometimes whenever we get into the break, we get the incredible honor and privilege of diving into the most beautiful place on the internet, the YouTube comment section, for some YouTube questions. YouTube question. Attaboy Zito, please dive deep into the annals of the YouTube comments to find something great.
Currently diving in from Steely Scent. Thanks. Oh, that was to me. What was Pat's favorite and least favorite class in West Virginia?
Okay. Favorite class was the sociology class that I took. Her name was Miss Feather or Dr. Pat, one or the other. Sociology were my favorite classes, though, because it's a study of people interacting with other people, I think. Oh, yeah. And it was intriguing. I didn't go to a lot of classes in college. We all know the stories. I wasn't, the most studious individual. I think you should, if you're in class and you're going into massive amounts of debt, you should at least learn some things. But for me, the only debt I was going in was for the loans that I took out to have a good time on High Street with my friends. And if I was going to go into debt, everybody else would be in debt, and we all start from the same spot. I made poor decisions whenever it came to the academics field, but sociology, I enjoyed a lot. My least favorite was this Frisbee class that I had to take. They took attendance. Like, that was a massive part of your grade. I couldn't fail it because it was Frisbee, and it was a class that I needed to pass a certain semester. And I just couldn't get that fucking forehand. I just couldn't. I got to see, because I couldn't get the forehand flip during the final. Came down to the final where you got to showcase all your different throws and catches. I did well. That forehand, though, it gave it a right into the dirt. So I think that was my least favorite class, strictly because they forced me to go to the class, or I would have gotten dropped or failed. And then I didn't succeed at said class that I was forced to go to. So it was kind of academics and fake classes punching me right in my stupid face. Thank you so much for that YouTube question from the YouTube comments. It's one of our favorite segments of every single day.
That was YouTube questions.
perfect occasion for mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is Chase Rice. He was supposed to be on the show on Monday, but I forgot, and I think we pissed him off.
Had some issues with guests recently.
Well, that one was my fault. That one was 100% my fault. Because the show got booked for Sean Merriman to be a call in at 11:40. By the way, where he came on and just sawed down Tom Brady, gave us a pretty good little soundbite to talk about for the next 24 hours, which, by the way, is needed in a certain time like this. But I had forgot that Chase Rice was coming in on Monday. He texted me like 5 minutes before he was supposed to go on air that we pre-agreed. Sean Merriman was on. I was like, oh man, I didn't know you remembered this. Or, you know what I mean? I tried to spin it that he forgot, but he didn't. It was me. Now he's in the studio creating an album. We never hear from him again. He's gone. But instead of Chase Rice, at Nick Morato's here, at Tone Diggs is here, Jason McAfee's here, Cuban Zete is here, Evan Foxy's directing the cameras. And on the phones, by the way, pretty good phone calls today, Coach Connor Campbell from Boston.
We've changed the screening process back here. I mean, the guys in the back over there are working harder than ever on these calls. We're going to be great.
You are the guy in the back.
No, there's a whole team, too, I set up. They're in the other room by Bill.
Okay. Well, we should not have them in here. We're only allowed to have 10 people in our building.
Yeah,
The fact that you're bringing in...
What do we need you for then?
Yeah, and by the way, we don't need you guiding anybody other than the callers on a day-to-day basis.
So we get so many calls to this show, we need to have multiple phones back there for the first round. I'm kind of like the Hollywood of American Idol here in this room that I get those calls.
You get the golden ticket.
Yes, exactly.
Call center.
Exactly.
I got it. Okay.
When you get 50,000 calls a show, you need to cipher
How
through
does
somehow.
some of these squeak by then? You know, I think you all should be fired sometimes. I mean, yesterday, Noah, I think his guy's name was, he was terrible.
He was bad, but sometimes there's a Cinderella story you just don't see. And
Gross?
Well, speaking of Gross, I think Gross might be making a second appearance here in a little bit.
Oh, my God, he's on. Guy yesterday tried to get us dropped from all radio. We're not on in Indiana anymore. Gross was on one time yesterday. Drops an F-bomb within his first sentence and a half, and then we get dropped from our Indianapolis station the next day. Currently, right now, not on CBS Radio in Indianapolis. They're playing a hypothetical IU basketball game on the radio right now instead of us because of what Gross did yesterday on the phones.
That's gross.
People are saying what's very gross is that the Carolina Panthers decided to cut Cam Newton after all the quarterback spots have been slotted. Very interesting move. Carolina Panthers not long ago said they're going to go forward with Cam Newton as their quarterback. They had a meeting. They said they did a physical. He looked healthy, looked like he was ready to go. That's going to be our guy. Then there was conversations that they were in conversations with Teddy Bridgewater, and everybody was like, well, wait a minute. If Cam Newton's your guy, are you bringing in Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback? And then it's a 3-year, $63 million deal. It's like, no. They are moving on from Cam Newton. Then the Carolina Panthers Instagram page posts that they have allowed Cam Newton and his team to seek a trade in free agency. Then Cam Newton came underneath that in his language and said, no, I wanted to be a Carolina Panther. I did not want to leave. Don't put this on me and my team. You did not allow me to seek a trade. You are forcing me into seeking a trade, basically. And Greg Olsen said, that sounds awfully familiar. Greg Olsen now of the Seattle Seahawks until he chooses he wants to be in a booth for any particular NFL game that he wants to be able to get that because he's Captain America. But Cam Newton now ends up getting cut from the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers job, gone. Chicago Bears job, gone and gone. Indianapolis Colts job, gone. The only thing that's really left for a team that is potentially looking for a quarterback is the Chargers or the Raiders. Now, the Raiders, remember, were in the Tom Brady talks, and there was first word that they would come out and pay $30 million for Tom Brady. Would they, after bringing in Marcus Mariota to an $8 million a year gig with a lot of incentives that's supposed to be a backup, but will it be a starting job, would they bring in another quarterback? Seems unlikely, but boy, the Chargers feel like the right place for Cam Newton. both from a business sense, from a team sense. Now, granted, maybe Tyrod Taylor is a quarterback that deserves a lot more respect than he has been given, but I'm not 100% sure you can sell out stadiums with Tyrod Taylor unless Tyrod Taylor does what Tyrod Taylor has done in a lot of places, which is win. That's going to take a couple years to build up a fan base. Also, shout out to the Chargers dropping a new logo yesterday. Nobody really knew about it because they're the Chargers. That's why you need a player like Cam Newton to be in there to maybe bring some relevance. Now, if they don't care about that at all, and they're only thinking about building their team, Tom Telesco, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts, was brought up into Bill Polian general manager camp, basically, has been a guy who's been a stickler for contracts. He's had a couple people hold out. He's made a couple deals come true. But only 2 years ago, they were winning a lot of games. A lot of games. They were supposed to go into Foxborough and beat the Patriots. So is Tom Telesco going to pay Cam Newton? Was he going to make a run at Tom Brady? I think he was. I think there was a real chance Tom Telesco was making a run at Tom Brady. Will he do the same thing for Cam Newton? In my eyes, I think he should. But what if he drafts a guy with their pick and he takes Air Bear, and Air Bear is their franchise, and they utilize Tyrod Taylor to teach and treat Air Bear in a fashion that Brett Favre treated Aaron Rodgers. Alex Smith treated Patrick Mahomes. I wish Peyton Manning would have to Andrew Luck. Is that what their plans are? They have some massive decisions. And Cam Newton's team has no clue what's going to potentially happen because they got cut in a place that they didn't think they were ever going to get cut. And that's after jobs are taken, before the draft, where they're thinking about rookies. It's a very intriguing part of the time here. And Matt Rule is clearly rebuilding that entire franchise. Keeping Christian McCaffrey is a big sign. He likes him. Last year, he was up for MVP conversations. They bring in Teddy Bridgewater, veteran quarterback, also P.J. Walker from the XFL. They signed Robbie Anderson to a 2-year, $20 million deal. He's bringing in his guys. Matt Rule told us, I mean me, Adam Amin, Molly McGrath, and Matt Hasselbeck in our Baylor game this year that we called. He said, I am not a fun coach to play for. He reiterated that fact that he said to me and A.J. Hawk a year before at the Texas shootout. He said, I am not a fun coach to play. We focus on ball here. We just play ball here. So that's why you see him bringing in a lot of people from Temple that have already worked in his system, that already understand what's going to be about, what Matt Rule is going to be like on a day-to-day basis. And for Cam Newton gets a potential fresh start somewhere, but where will that be? And everybody's saying there's a 50-50 shot. Dan Orlovsky, who we all appreciate spraying on this show. I mean, many people say we gave him his start here on this show. He said on ESPN that it's a 50-50 shot that Cam Newton's going to be a backup quarterback next year. I don't think Cam Newton's the type of player to be a backup quarterback, by the way. Look for Cam Newton to retire if he's going to be a backup quarterback. I don't think he'll just hang around. Now, will Jameis? I don't think Jameis has gotten paid as much as Cam Newton has been paid. He's still got to collect a bag, and maybe he'll be a backup quarterback and hopefully get that Tannehill moment sometime. But I don't think Cam Newton's going anywhere to be a backup quarterback. And I'm pumped to see where it is because I think Cam Newton, his personality, the way he operates, he's going to be on a mission. I think to prove his legacy is one of a great player and not a guy that didn't go after a fumble and then fell apart after that after the Super Bowl.
Someone you just mentioned, friend of the show, Matthew M. Hasselbeck, brought up yesterday that he thinks the best location is the Washington Redskins.
That's because Ron Rivera's there. Maybe Dwayne Haskins and he will be able to develop a good relationship. He and Dwayne Haskins are two very different quarterbacks. Very different quarterbacks. Completely different quarterback. Yeah. Dwayne Haskins is not that mobile. No. Now, he's athletic, but he's not that mobile. Now, can Cam Newton teach Dwayne Haskins some things, maybe on how to operate inside of Ron Rivera's system? Or maybe Ron Rivera doesn't give a damn about Dwayne Haskins. You know, that guy was drafted in the previous regime. That guy who drafted you also got fired, by the way. So maybe that's how Ron Rivera feels. Ron Rivera said on this show that Cam Newton is a great player. He said, what happened to us? We started losing whenever we didn't have a healthy quarterback, and our quarterback just so happened to be a game changer in Cam Newton is what Ron Rivera said. Ron Rivera went to bat for Cam Newton whenever he came on this show because the conversation was, will Matt Rule and Cam Newton get along? And I was surprised to see that Ron Rivera was like, oh, that's my guy, basically. They had a lot of success together, would make a lot of sense. I think they can pay him. And now, if the Panthers would have played that right, potentially get
They got a draft pick for Kyle Allen, who they sent there.
Yeah, that's the fishy part, though, right? If you think they could get Cam, why would they go get Kyle Allen like 2 days before Cam gets released? Ron has to know that Cam was going to get released or be available for trade.
I want that whole quarterback room that I had. Give me Kyle Allen. Let's get Will Greer up here, too. You guys are going to cut him probably, right? Yeah, you're going to cut him. You got Teddy Bridgewater, P.J. Walker. You're going to cut Will Greer. We'll sign him too. We'll have just the Carolina Panthers quarterback room up here. That's an interesting thing.
And Alex Smith is still sitting there. Can Dwayne Haskins be this year's Josh Rosen, where he gets traded
On
a
draft
year
night.
after being a first round?
What if Cincinnati? What if the Redskins try to make a play for Joe Burrow? They trade Dwayne Haskins over to Cincinnati.
Oh, please.
Oh, man. Dewey for Joe? They wouldn't do that.
Dwayne Haskins, Ohio guy, Ohio State.
Ohio guy.
Ohio State. Put him back in Ohio. Be the face of Cincinnati. Joe Burrow going to the capital of America. What a nightmare. Could you imagine the Bengals fans?
Oh, my God.
Cam in New Hampshire. What's up, pal? I think Dwayne's good, by the way.
Good morning, Pat. How are you, sir?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you?
I'm all right at work, taking my vitamins. So I was wondering if...
That's not an essential job if you can just get high at it. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, I work at a vape shop. What do you expect? So I was wondering if you think players who don't finish the college route and go through the draft route have a chance of making it to the NFL, like Destroying on YouTube. He went through the University of Central Florida and was making YouTube videos and started making money from it. And once, I believe, the NCAA or SEC, whoever the hell, realized he was making money from it, they said you either have to cut the YouTube or cut the football. And now he's trying to go through and trying to make it to the NFL without going the college route. Do you think players like that have a chance at all?
Yeah, the thing about him, I've seen Destroying kind of come up. Incredible athlete, by the way, Destroying. I've watched a lot of his videos. I'm not 100% sure he's a good enough kicker to be an NFL kicker at this point. I've seen him kick. He's a very good kicker. I'm not 100% sure of his consistency. And also, as a person who had a personality at kicking as a kicker and a punter position, like you have to be as quiet as possible until you become. Now, granted, I was not. Everybody thinks like I was the person I am now. Whenever I was young, no, I was not a good enough punter of a ball to have a personality or go out and do anything outside of the Colts. It wasn't until I was comfortable that I was going to be very good at my job that I started, tweeting a little bit more, started doing shows and things like that. I feel like you had to earn to be that type of distraction. Now, is this world potential distraction? All my stuff was not negative. It was all very stupid and positive. But still, anytime you focus your life on anything other than what your job is, that you're getting paid a very big amount of money and the whole world knows you're getting paid. Anytime you start focusing away from that and you have any little slip up over here, you're just setting yourself up to get absolutely destroyed by people. Happened to Juju. I knew it was going to happen to Juju his rookie year because how smart Juju has been with his business off the field and how much success he had his rookie year. I was like, hey, he better come back better than ever because all the YouTube, all the Twitch, all the actual smart business stuff that Juju is doing to set himself up down the road, as soon as he drops one ball or as soon as he has a bad out or something like that, you're just giving people excuse like, well, if he didn't worry about the damn llama in Fortnite all the time, he would have been able to catch that slant route and score a touchdown for my Pittsburgh Steelers. Like that's just kind of what happens. So I think for Destroying, if he really wanted to get into the NFL, he would actually have to disappear for a little bit. Only post videos of him kicking and working out and showing that he's 100% focused on that, as opposed to all the other incredible business stuff that he does. Now, I'm not knocking his business. I think he's very, very talented. I just think if you're an NFL position of power and you're going to bring somebody in, and it's a position like kicking and punting, would you bring in somebody that could potentially have a little bit of distraction? You don't know if he's going to be great. He was already cut from a Canadian Football League team, I think. You're not 100% sure if he's going to be great, and there's a potential distraction, or are you just going to sign one of these very boring, no business sense having, bland kickers that are just on the kicking cycle until you find a guy? That's going to be an interesting decision I think a lot of people will make. But I know of Destroying, and I watch a lot of his videos. I enjoy it. I'm not 100% sure he's a good enough kicker to be in the NFL yet, but I think if he keeps working, he will be. He's a great athlete. Great athlete.
So I think Debo just called us right now and was really confused why we called him.
So he didn't even know he was coming on the show.
I don't think so.
Did you answer?
Yeah, Jay answered.
What'd you say? Hey, how's it going? This is Pat McAfee show?
This is Jay's from the Pat McAfee show. We had you scheduled for 10:30, and he was like, all right, and then just hung up on us.
So Jason McAfee has talked to Debo Samuel.
He got Debo.
Jay's got Debo'd by Debo. Oh, that's awesome. We got to get to a break because we do have Antonio Gates in this hour, and Evan Foxy has to read an ad read.
Wow.
But I think there's a lot of different ways for guys to make it into the league. There was a kicker from like Norway that was doing trick shots who had to work out with the Lions.
Yep.
But you got to remember with a lot of these highlight posters, like you're not seeing their misses, and the misses are normally aplenty if you know anything about the internet. So I think there is a chance people can get noticed and seen by their YouTube and social media, but I also think it could potentially be a bad sign for some teams to bring in somebody because of their social media and their YouTube, which, by the way, I don't think is right. I don't think is right at all.
I mean, a guy we have on later didn't play college football because of Michigan State. So
Antonio Gates?
Yeah, he went to Michigan State, wanted to play both, but Saban said, no, you're only allowed to play football. Or you're only allowed to play football.
True
So he
story.
left.
So he went to Kent State.
A couple stops before Kent State.
Golden Flash. Hall of Famer. Of course, Michigan State would force him out. Speaking of Michigan State, here's Evan Foxy.
The perfect hire can have an impact on your business for years to come. So when you need to find that next person to help grow your business, LinkedIn Jobs will match the right talent with your open role fast. LinkedIn has over 675 million members worldwide. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast.
Really?
What are those?
Soft skills, the intangibles, basically, Connor. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job posts in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly.
Wow.
That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire. People with skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires.
Awesome.
Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Great work, Foxy. We're back on the other side talking about the Chinese Basketball Association. Bad news, games are delayed and postponed indefinitely. This offseason, everybody was talking about where Tom Brady was potentially going to end up at. It was the Raiders. It was the Chargers. It was the Niners. It was all these teams. It was come out now that the Colts were a place that Tom Brady's camp wanted to go. The Colts chose Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady. I mean, if you really look at it, that is kind of what Peter King laid out in his blog, is the Colts chose Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady. Why do you think they did that, especially being somebody who's so close to Phillip Rivers? And do you think that is ultimately going to be the right move in the end with Phil Rivers and the Colts?
Yes, because they're seeing this. The Colts are seeing the same thing that I've been saying the past few months, but everybody kind of pinned me as this Patriots hater, which I am, and I'm glad and proud of it. But at the same time, I'm just saying the truth. Right now, their stage of their careers, Phillip Rivers is a much better quarterback than Tom Brady physically. And I believe that he can go out and outperform Tom Brady right now in this stage of career. A lot of people you stick Tom Brady's name up there and you talk about just all these Super Bowls. I get it and I understand, but right now in their stage of career, somebody asked me, and I'm not saying this because I played with Phillip and I have a relationship with him. I'm saying it because if I'm looking at two quarterbacks that I want the team to bring in, I'm saying, oh my God, I want Phil because I know that Phil can play physically better at a high level for the next couple of years. Tom Brady might be, make smarter decisions. Tom Brady might do a couple other things better, but as far as physically to go out and compete as a quarterback, Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady, and that's why the Colts were higher on Phillip than they were on Tom.
your motivational speech for our listeners to come back to McAfee and Hawk, a sports show, tomorrow.
So, yeah, I'm not doing the inspirational thing. You like to do this and try to paint me into a corner and get all your little buddies to cheer and rally around and have the sarcastic cheer for me to do something like that.
No, that's not what we do at all. You don't know us at all.
So, yeah, I know your game. I'm older than all of you, too, I believe. So, like, it's not like I'm the little brother that you're taking advantage of. That's what you try to do here in these moments. I know.
No.
So I can hearing the guys' voices in the background. AJ. But yeah, I think right now we're in the weirdest time ever, Pat. We really are.
Yeah, we are.
It's a brutal, weird time. Stop clapping for me. It's not a motivational talk.
Yeah, it is. Let's go.
You have a 10 to 12 radio show still every day, correct?
Oh yeah, I do.
So yeah, most likely at 1 p.m. daily, we're going to go on here and we're going to talk about what's going on and see free agency in the world.
Where's a wall for me to run through? Thank you for that, AJ.
This is so stupid.
That's what we're talking about, AJ. AJ Hawk, AJ Hawk, AJ Hawk, AJ Hawk, AJ Hawk.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good, live good, die good.
If you're listening to the show right now, I want you to take a second and look down. When was the last time you shaved your junk? It's been a while, don't lie. Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shave that junk. Here's some talking points. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below the waist and grooming and hygiene. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit, the perfect tools for your family jewels. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. It's waterproof, it's cordless, and tons of other liquid formulas to round out your Manscaped routine. Oh yeah, and of course, let's not forget the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits, right? So why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body?
Great, need deodorant, man.
Don't need deodorant.
Need to put the deodorant below the belt.
Oh yeah, for a limited time, subscribers get not one, but 2 free gifts.
Wow.
Oh yeah, the Shed Travel Bag, a $39 value at that. And the patent high performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs.
Yeah, you're rolling right now.
All right, thank you. Should I call to some action?
Hey, big old call to action.
I'm gonna call. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code America. Your partner, your body, and your country will thank you.
Okay. That boy Z. Foxy always misses your throwaway.
I know, I really do.
Every time.
Literally every single time.
Because you always talk and then I...
Oh, just did it again. I had no paper.
Welcome back to Pat McAfee Show. I believe Antonio Gates is joining us in about 16 minutes. Not 100% sure. Debo Samuel was supposed to join us in the first hour. I don't think anybody told him.
Called us.
He called us back and said, who this? New phone, who this? This is Pat McAfee Show. You're supposed to be on 10:30. Oh, all right. Hangs up. See you later.
Deuce.
Hey, he was in the Super Bowl last year, dude. And his name's Debo. He's allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. Yeah. Antonio Gates would be a good conversation. Another good conversation is the fact that right now FanDuel has the easiest futures bet in the history of futures bet right now. I was scrolling around because I'm getting a little itch that I'd like to scratch. So I started going through some futures bets on FanDuel because there's obviously no live betting right now. So I'm going through the futures bets, and they have a prop bet out there on who will win more games next season. Do the New England Patriots or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Okay? The New England Patriots, who just lost Tom Brady, Cal Van Noy, offensive line coach, special teams coordinator,
Jamie Collins.
Basically a lot of staples in that world. Gone. No salary cap really to make any moves. A lot of draft picks, though, which we would assume Bill Belichick's going to do well with. And a guy named Jared Stidham, probably quarterback.
Stidham.
Stidham. Or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have, especially if they sign Antonio Brown, will have the most talented wide receiver trio, potentially in the history of the game, in the history of all of football, potentially, if you bring in Antonio Brown. Without Antonio Brown, you still have two wide receivers that combined for over 2,600 yards last year. You have an offensive system with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady coming together and a bunch of OG coaches, including Clyde Christensen, who's been a quarterback coach for the last 30 years in the NFL, and Byron Leftwich, who's been around the NFL forever, and Tom Moore, who was back up to Johnny Unitas back in the day. You're talking about a coaching staff on the offensive side who are a lot of brilliant minds who I assume are going to try to make life as easy as possible for Tom Brady, which was probably a part of a conversation that Tom Brady and Peyton Manning had, because Peyton Manning has a direct relationship with a lot of those coaches. Tom Moore, Clyde Christensen, Bruce Arians. I don't know how close he is with Byron Leftwich. Let's assume he knows him. But I assume that conversation was one that was potentially mitigated through Peyton Manning about a place that would let Tom be Tom, let Tom have a little bit more control, even though it's coming out that Tom didn't ask for that. But a mind coming together. Some of the greatest minds in the history of football come together, excluding Bill Belichick. Some of the greatest minds coming together in one team with an urgency that they have to win now, with a defense that went from number 32 in the NFL to number 5 in the NFL with Todd Bowles. And let's assume they're not going to be set up in bad positions with turnovers happening at a rapid rate, 38 of them just by Jameis or whatever. That defense is going to be even better with an offense that maybe plays smart football. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not only get more wins than the New England Patriots next year, not only is that the easiest bet I've seen on FanDuel in a long time as a futures bet, minus 110 for both of them, even money there for both teams. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers potentially go on a run through the NFC, through the entire NFC. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers potentially end up in a Super Bowl. Am I riding the wave of what have you done for me lately? Am I forgetting that the San Francisco 49ers rushed for 186 yards before contact in the NFC Championship game? Am I forgetting that Drew Brees exists in the same exact division as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Am I forgetting that Aaron Rodgers, one of our best friends whose face is hanging atop our show at all times, am I forgetting that he's in the NFC? No, I'm just saying with the minds that are down in Tampa, with Tom Brady potentially being the missing piece, a veteran, smart winner of a quarterback, with all of that talent, I don't think you can rule out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers making a Super Bowl run and inevitably running into one of the young guns or old Big Ben in the Super Bowl. And that's how confident I am that bet on FanDuel about who's going to win more games next year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or New England Patriots, is the easiest bet I've ever seen. You bring out your hammer. You whip out your hammer, your social distancing, so whip that thing out as hard as you can. You take that and you swing it not only like a windmill dunk, like a son of a bitch, but you swing that thing to try to break the button on the FanDuel thing, and you hammer the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for minus 110 on who gets more wins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New England Patriots.
I mean, you laid out all the positives for the Bucs. I'm not seeing many wins here on the Patriots. Scott, do you want to play that game? Bills?
L.
Texans?
Billy O'Stitch.
Chiefs?
L.
Chargers?
Well, it depends if they get tie. They tie.
Rams?
They win against the Rams.
Dolphins?
They lose to the Dolphins.
Bills again?
They lose to the Bills.
Dolphins?
They lose to the Dolphins.
Jets?
They beat the Jets.
Broncos?
Depends on what the Broncos do.
Raiders?
Depends on, what's that?
Raiders?
They beat the Raiders.
Niners?
They lose to the Niners.
Ravens?
They lose to the Ravens.
Seahawks?
They lose to the Seahawks.
Cardinals?
They beat the Cardinals. So that's 4-12. Let's assume Tampa's going to get at least 5 wins. Let's assume that the Tampa's going to get at least
I
5.
mean, I don't think we've lost to the Dolphins twice and the Bills twice in the
Congrats,
same season.
they
Last
stink.
25 years.
Yeah, but you lost to the Dolphins whenever you guys were in the middle of your dynasty. I couldn't even fathom what it's going to be like now. Got no shot. Especially with Kyle Van Noy, B-Flow, and the boys down there. Ryan Fitzpatrick, potentially Tua.
You lost to the Dolphins in New England when you had a chance to get a first-round bye.
Never ever in my life have I been 4-12 in March, but here we are.
Yeah, this is your new normal.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is your new normal.
I guess so.
Yeah, you've had Tom Brady your whole life.
And then Tampa, Foxy just showed Tampa's schedule. I mean, that's
Cupcake City.
Free ride's over.
What do you mean? Play the Lions, win.
Jeez, that's a tough
that whole bottom rows wins.
Oh, shut up.
Bears, dub. Vikings, that could be tough, to be honest with
I
you.
think they're going to stink next year.
What, the Vikings?
Suck.
Why? Because they don't have Stephon Diggs, the guy throwing his helmet?
They got no other weapon besides our guy.
Adam Thielen,
Besides-
Kyle Rudolph, Dalvin Cook.
The disrespect.
Yeah, I don't like what
No,
you
no,
just
there's no
did.
disrespect. I picked them to win the Super Bowl last year.
So they didn't deliver, and now you're saying they're not even going to win
Let's
5
get to the
games.
phones. Let's get to Chandler in Maine. Never met a real-life Chandler. What's going on? That's a TV fake name.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother Pat. How we doing?
I'm okay. How are you, Chandler?
I'm not too bad. Hey, so my question. Well, first off, T's and P's to your dance moves that you just threw out there. I love you, but that was a little something.
Oh.
But the first thing, Deshaun Watson.
Boo.
This guy doesn't know. Chandler doesn't know. Chandler doesn't know.
Chandler Stooge.
Don't
Fake
know-
name Stooge.
That is a fake name, Chandler. By the way, call back with your real name tomorrow. Don't come after my dance moves, pal. Everybody knows that I'm undefeated in dance-offs. That's an actual stat. It's documented. Gino in Pennsylvania. Gino, what's going on, pal?
Hey, Pat. How you doing?
You know, I love the name Gino. We had a Gino in our high school. Gino is just a classic Italian name. Excited to hear what you have to say today on the show.
Hey, I appreciate that. I called before and kind of got down Tone's pinky ring, but I got a confession that I got myself a pinky ring just because I felt so bad for the guy. And I am a real Italian. If you guys remember my call before.
We don't. I wish I did, but I love the fact he went after Diggs because Diggs was a pinky ring guy for about 2.5, 3 days. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You're a big pinky ring guy. You said this was the new Diggs.
Still would be. It just was like 6 sizes too big. And I had to wear it on my middle finger, and that's just not as cool.
And it's not a pinky ring.
It's not a pinky ring.
Yeah, okay.
So we're still looking to get it sized, but everyone's close.
So everybody, you know your size if you're trying
Know
to
your
get
size.
a pinky ring game. By the way, I try to get a pinky ring. There's not a discreet pinky ring.
No, nor should there be.
That's what I'm saying. Like I thought I'd be able to just get one and kind of just
check this out.
Just kind of like cash.
Yeah.
Can't do it. It's
like saying there's not a lot of discreet fireworks. They're not supposed to be discreet.
Well, there's ones that go and then they disappear.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle change that it's hard to accept sometimes.
What do you want to talk about, Gino? You think Steelers win the AFC North?
No. Even though I'm a diehard Pittsburgh fan, I think it's going to be rough this year with Ron Burgundy as our quarterback this year, even though he's feeling younger.
That was Ben Roethlisberger. He was calling Ron Burgundy when he came out of the thing with the milk.
Oh, there it is.
He was in a glass case of emotion. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
When he did the
Yeah, it came back better than ever.
conch show. Yeah, he did. You're 100% right. All right. Before we get to a break, there's a call from Philadelphia. His name is Gross. Yesterday he was despicable. Edwin Gross, what's up?
Pat, I have to throw this out there. I have to quote a famous 21st century poet by the name of Marshall Mathers. The SEC won't let me be or let me be me, so let me see. They tried to shut me down on McAfee, and that segment felt so empty without me.
Nah.
I don't know.
Nah, Gross, you stink.
He didn't say he was going to do that.
There was an attempt there.
He swung the bat.
It did. Took it off his shoulder for sure.
All right. We got to get to a break. That was disappointing.
Yeah, I only caught the end, but boy.
What happened to your team of screeners?
Oh, the screeners?
He said the FCC, he actually said the SEC, by the way, but it's the FCC, won't let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on McAfee, but the segment felt so empty without me.
Well, securities and exchanges right now going through a tough time as well. So.
Yeah. Tough time in the market.
But without him was the segment.
That was the thing.
The thing was.
Yeah.
Not a bad go, though. I mean, he did rhyme, I guess. He mentioned philosophical rapper and Marshall Mathers. Just,
He got up there and took his cuts.
He did. But he lost energy towards the end, which is what he was calling about yesterday.
Yep.
So that's probably my issue with the gross. Our next caller is going to be much better than that, I think. Maybe. Actually, I've never talked to him. Antonio Gates joins us on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Not a lot of people know this, but Billy McComas actually has the wettest jump shot in the tri-state area.
Bill almost missed the backboard.
Exactly. I mean,
Oh,
great.
That's like I said. If the hoop was 8 feet to the right,
Bill's not going to hit the back.
Bill's not going to make this shot. Period.
Oh my fucking MVP motor. Yeah. Billy McComas just brought out a recycling can.
Bill's going to do it.
So Connor going for a handstand. Oh God. Rosita shoot.
Look at this.
Oh. What are you gonna do? It's got saran wrap around his face. They're potentially gonna kill him, man. Poke a hole in that thing.
Billy is now getting into the bin that he tackled earlier.
Oh my God! Like a porta-john. He's going for a ride. Billy! Oh no. Oh no. And it worked.
Oh,
Bill?
He's doing the ram jam.
Looks like he's going to do a flip.
No, Bill.
I mean, that was just a piss poor effort. Are you really fingering Big Motor's butthole?
His head. Jesus.
I think that probably hurt, that's disgusting.
So you have to hit from this home run spot. Because if he hits this thing's going to the 14th inning.
Yeah, we'll be here all night if Foxy hits this.
What a clutch shot for the kid from Williamston. Dick says, you know what, I'm going to do a walk-off home run, though, with 2 outs on the board.
Tony has less than 0 chance.
Oh, he did it! He did it! The son of a bitch did it! Anthony DeGilio in the bottom of the 14th hits a home run with 2 outs on the board. Now, Billy McComas shoots next. Do we finish this to see if this thing covers?
What about just if Billy makes a free throw, they cover? Because let's be honest, there's no way in hell Billy's going to make
Billy,
all
if you make a free throw, we will act as if it's the cycle and give you 4 more runs. But now Billy McComas is... Son of a bitch! Billy McComas in the bottom of the 14th brings out the granny Jackie Moon free throw to cover for the commenters that had the big motors and Evan Foxy -3.5.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Joining us now. Oh, there's an issue with mass control on the radio side.
What can that mean?
I don't know. That was, by the way, we have a guy who's the connection side for the Westwood One radio stations, CBS radio stations, not on in Indianapolis, but on in general. 1 minute and 20 seconds till we're coming back.
What do we do until then?
Do we just sit here?
What do I do with my hands?
I have a video we can play.
No.
Wait, there was Houston?
No, I can't chug this because I got to keep my stomach.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
We got 1 minute till we're back.
Does Mr. Gates know?
Somebody
can hear us right now.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh.
No relation to Bill.
Really?
Benjamin?
That'd be the movie.
Oh, yeah. National Treasure.
Yeah.
Benjamin Gates. Sorry, Ty. I should have waited for Ty.
Big Benjamin Gates guy.
Yeah, or just don't suck.
Yeah, but I've tried that for years, and there's no avoiding it.
So did we control?
Don,
the
what
masses?
happened? Did this break just go long on the radio side?
Whoa.
Oh, so we were live. We were live for at least a minute. Oh, no.
So did our ad with that bomb get in there?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is Wednesday, March 25th. Joining us now is a man who's going to be a Hall of Famer. He officially retired in January. He was dominant on the basketball court, but it wasn't until he found the NFL tight end position that it became a household name and a legend everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, former tight end of the Chargers, an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, an absolute stud, Antonio Gates.
Hey, Antonio!
How y'all doing? How y'all doing, man?
Hey, you got a chance to experience the wave of technology with us there whenever we thought we were live and then we weren't live. We appreciate your patience in joining us today.
Oh, no worries, man. I was like my career, man. I've watched a lot of things change over time. So came in 2002 and, finished up in 2018. And I can tell you, it was not the same. It was totally different in that locker room. So I'm all for it. I'm cool.
Okay, so that is a great question. As a man who's been there for so long with the Chargers, whenever the Chargers make that move from San Diego to Los Angeles, we talked to Austin Eckler about it, but he was just there for the post time, basically. He was never really got to play in San Diego for the move. How wearing was that move on the players deciding to go from San Diego to Los Angeles, and how long in advance did you guys know before the public knew?
Not much longer. Because I think the whole idea was that we were trying to get a new stadium in San Diego. And, unfortunately, we wasn't able to accomplish that. So, with that being said, the move to L.A. was a surprise to all of us. We might have known shortly right after the public. And it was a tough transition, especially from a guy that, that's all I known up until that point is just the true Charger fans that was in San Diego, man. It was just an unbelievable situation, man. And like I said, we was hopeful that those fans would still follow us when we got to L.A., and some of them did, and some of them still support us to this day.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a tough decision because it seemed like a lot of the fans turned on Spanos, and then L.A. became the new home, and then pushing Los Angeles. And San Diego was kind of forgotten about. Whenever people would say the Chargers, they would still say San Diego Chargers, and then they would correct themselves. So it was almost like a subtle shot at San Diego every single time a commentator made a mistake. But you guys, you and Phil had such an incredible run of the Chargers of old back in the day. Now, granted, there's a chance to get back in that. And just a couple years ago, there was a playoff run there that ultimately ended in Foxborough, which a lot of AFC playoff hopes did. But that run you and Phil Rivers went on was nothing short of majestic to watch. Did you ever expect in your life that a guy from Carolina who's got 75 kids would be the man that you'd be a tag team partner with for so long and have so much success with?
No, man, and I think that was the beauty of it all. You talk about two different guys from two different backgrounds. And And what was unique is that, most of the time when you think of some type of chemistry, you think of somebody's been on the same page consistently. And it was times that we wasn't on the same page. And I thought that's what made us strong, because we seen it from different angles. And my weakness was his strength, my strength was his weaknesses. And that's what made us collectively just, that's that much more difficult to deal with. And we applied it that way. We go out into a game, and there was things that I wanted to get done that he probably didn't see or foresee on film. And we got it done because it was ultimately a team for us to, go out and try to adapt, if you will. That would probably be the proper word to use. We was able to adapt in a game situation, probably better than, majority of times that you've seen in the past.
Jacob Hester told me that Phillip Rivers, and this is a shot at you, by the way, because you were one of his teammates. He said that Phillip Rivers was his favorite teammate because of how much he loved football, and basically his entire life revolved around ball and his family. Do you echo those same sentiments? Like, are the people of Indianapolis and the Colts members in that locker room, are they going to love having Phillip Rivers around?
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. You got to remember that the organization, the coaching staff was with Phillip. So, you're talking about J. Mike to Nick to Frank, the whole staff basically that was with us in San Diego. They know him very well. He knows them very well. I know him very well. And it's like a reunion in a sense. They won't miss a beat. They're going to still apply the same things. And that's great because I think it Phillips fit right in. I always talked to him when we did talk briefly. I always felt like that was the best situation for him, just for the simple fact that they got the same similar weapons, and then they got a phenomenal running game with that defense, and then you add a quarterback that can obviously make your passing game go from good to elite, and I think they just got an opportunity now of a lifetime when you add a guy like that.
It's coming out that the Colts picked Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady, which is probably because of the comfort level that the coaching staff has with Phil from your days in San Diego. Let's revisit your days in San Diego. Back in the day, a basketball player becoming an NFL player was not the norm. You kind of set a trend for a bunch of guys these days who play other sports and then think they can have a shot in the NFL. It doesn't always work as smoothly as you made it seem. Was there any questions early in your football career in the NFL? You're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out, or this is a lot harder than I thought it was, or did the game come very easily to you at the NFL level?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously it was a lot harder than what people perceive it to be because it's still the National Football League. I think the number one thing when I do talk to players and that have that same urge to make that transition is just it comes with a lot of toughness. I think my growing up in the inner city came with toughness, overcoming adversity. So just because you're a basketball player and you got athleticism, you just can't jump into a football game. Right? I had dislocated fingers. I played with high ankle sprains. So to me, the physicality of the game, me being from a certain background, it helped me flourish in that game alone. Obviously, the athleticism was natural and things of that nature. But I always try to say that when I got there, you talking about guys 295 pounds moving just as quickly as you and just as swift as you were. And that's something that you just don't see on the basketball court or any other sport in that respect. So when guys want to make that transition and just come from another sport, or rather, I've seen guys that ran track that say they want to come play receiver or play cornerback or play in the National Football League. Just remember that don't underestimate the fact that the physicality part and having that toughness. That to me, that was the biggest attribute that I had coming into the league, is that Marty Schottenheimer was able to see the fact that I was still tough, despite all the things that, all the athleticism and all the attributes that I was able to carry.
Signing in 2002, that was old school football. That was 3-a-days still. That was no rules going across the middle. What was the first shot that you can remember being like, damn, these guys hit over here?
I know. Man, it's funny because when I went to the Chargers, I had an opportunity to go on. Like I got, contracts from other teams, but to me, the Chargers were the team I kind of like did an overview with, and I was like, I don't know none of these guys. Maybe this is an easier team to make, and I was in for a surprise, bro. Because what you fail to realize at that time when you're making that transition from the college level to the pros is that you assume that the teams that considered the bad teams are the teams with the less talent. That was what I thought when I got there. And when I got there, I was the number 4 tight end in the league. And I was calling back home, and I was telling my friends, and I was like, man, these dudes all can play. These dudes good. So, you know what I mean? But you remember that they were getting all these draft picks. You know what I mean? They had just drafted Drew Brees. They had drafted, LT. They drafted Tim Jammer. So I was unaware of the fact that the talent level that was there, you know what I'm saying? Because I hadn't heard much about them. They wasn't winning as much in that time frame. That was early 2000s. The last time they had been to a playoff was in 1994. So I think I was just surprised by the talent level of a team that was playing so poorly in that time frame. And when you get there, man, like I said, it was just I can't put into words on how difficult it is to make a team as the 4th tight end. So I figured special teams were my route. And that you hear coaches talk about it, you hear on shows that they allude to the idea of, okay, you got to make this team on special teams when you become a rookie free agent. And that was my thought process. I never in a million years had the thought process of going out playing and starting. That was not my goal. My goal was at the time is to take it one step at a time, make the special teams roster, make the active roster. I was actually surprised when I made the active roster because they were cutting guys that I thought should have been starting. So you can only imagine how I was feeling as a free agent when I see guys coming from Nebraska and, these big universities. And here I am, a basketball player, and I'm sitting there and the cuts are coming up. And I'm in a hotel room, and I'm like, golly, they let him go yesterday? That's kind of what my thought process was. I would say it to myself because guys were much more advanced than I was at the time because I hadn't played.
Well, I think the Chargers made the right decision keeping you around. I mean, it's obviously worked out. We have like a minute and a half left before a hard out, but I want to ask you, obviously I enjoyed your work on the grind. I enjoyed you on the field. I can't wait for your Hall of Fame speech. The tight end position has become more important than it has ever been before. I mean, Gronk, Kelsey, Kittle, you name it. It's becoming a household name. Are you enjoying what tight ends have become in the NFL, or do you think it's a completely different position than back in the day?
No, I love it. I do, man. I think that, we are finally getting our just due. And obviously it stems from obviously guys even before me that paved the way. I mean, it's a list of guys that have done a lot of different things that has the same effect on their organization. And I think that's why it's so very difficult to talk about when you talk about the greatest. So many guys impacted the position and they impacted their organization. And I think that's what's more important than anything. But to see it go to the point where it's at now, who could have dreamed it? Because when I got to the league, guys was not doing, catching, going for 1,000 yards, catching 10+ touchdowns, 100 catches, 100 receptions. That just wasn't really the thing. It was the tight end position with, you had to be 265. You had to block power. You had to block counter. You had to block ISO. Obviously my ability alone allowed me to be a little bit more, them to be more open-minded with me because I was a basketball player. So it helped, obviously, make that transition in terms of guys being in space more. And I'm glad to see it. Every team now I look at now is a guy at that position that can beat you, that can hurt you. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
I think the thing that I've really enjoyed is you and Gonzalez obviously were the two names of the past, right? You and Gonzalez were the two names of the past. Now, that San Francisco 49ers team, George Kittle is almost the face of that entire franchise at tight end. Gronk, as soon as he leaves the New England Patriots, they become a completely different team. Kelsey is a weapon for the Chiefs that they'll need for a long time. I'm excited to see the evolution of tight end still become the dominant player and see who's next. But I'll tell you what, a lot of those people, I would assume they all grew up watching old Gates film. You're an absolute stud on the field, brother. It was fun to watch.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate what they've done to continue to, carry that tradition because it's not easy. I know that when you're the face of a franchise like Kittles or Kelsey or Gronk, obviously Gronk retired, but I understand the dynamic of being, when you're involved in that passing game heavily, and you're counted on, your teams trust you, the organization trusts you to make plays in the game. It's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of, obviously sacrifice. So I'm glad to see what they're doing, man. And I'm continuing to root for these tight ends because I see the salary going up. That's one thing we didn't get. It's the money that they were getting.
Antonio, the big news today is Cam Newton getting cut. Do you have any opinion on if the Chargers should potentially go after him, move it into a bigger stadium, or how do you feel about Tyrod and the quarterback situation now that Phillip's gone?
Well, obviously, I don't know Tyrod. I watched last year, and what I do know is that I know what Anthony Lynn wanted to do in the past. I think Cam Newton definitely fits that mold, and so does Tyrod. Like I said, I wasn't able to see Tyrod up close. I was watching some games last year, but he didn't get in much. Obviously, Phillip Rivers, the quarterback. But when you talk about, reviving a team, reviving a city, a guy like Cam Newton, he can definitely get that done from a standpoint of ticket sales, and obviously you still give yourself a chance to win a championship, because we don't want to make this all about selling tickets and selling seats. We still want to win, and I think he's proven. He's a proven commodity in this league. He's proven that he can get you to a championship. Now, where he's at from an injury standpoint, I really don't know. That's up to the organization to do their due diligence and figure out where he's at physically. But you're talking about a big, strong quarterback that can run the ball downhill, that can throw the ball if given the right weapons. I think he'd be an important piece if they were to accept him. And obviously, we'll welcome him with open arms if that was his route to come to LA Chargers.
Did you think there was a chance Tom Brady was going to end up there?
I did, man.
Me too.
In a crazy kind of way, I did, man. Just for the simple fact, it was just, But at the end of the day, I just didn't see it being, because I didn't see, other than the idea that he, from a stardom status in terms of ticket sales, bringing Tom Brady. But, you get rid of Phillip Rivers and you bring in Tom Brady, what is that really saying about your quarterback? That you obviously all-time leader in just about every category that you have from a quarterback standpoint. So, and he's younger. So that was where it got tricky for me because, you bring in a Tom Brady, and obviously your ticket sales goes up tremendously because that's Tom Brady. He's a proven winner with that defense, and I know our defense will be very good this year because we had some injuries last year. So, but that's done. We got to move forward. So he's going to Tampa, and hopefully, whoever we land, we draft a quarterback in the meantime because we still going to need a future quarterback.
What are you doing with your future? Last question before we let you go. We appreciate your time here. What are you getting into, Antonio?
Well, basically, I'm working with the Chargers. I'm an ambassador for them. I've been involved in, things up until this point, and that's what I plan on doing. And hopefully it can flourish into something bigger, some bigger role, whether or not it's, doing something with the personnel, whatever it may be. But I think it's important to have these ideas from guys who played, who understands what it's like to be in that locker room, who sincerely cares about the organization, which is more important. And obviously the Spanos has been obviously really my only family because they gave me opportunity and obviously just working with them has been obviously a pleasure. So I'm just enjoying myself, and I work with the Chargers as an ambassador.
That's awesome. What a brilliant move by them, to be honest with you. Well, good luck with that. Good luck to the Chargers. We can't thank you enough for joining us, man. You're incredible.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, good luck to your Chargers, man. I hope you guys sell some damn tickets over there.
I know, right? I know. All right, thank you.
All right. Antonio.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. That's the show for today. Cheers, man. That's the show for today. We missed the radio out. He just talked right through it. But,
barely.
I mean, it was great.
Can't stop Antonio Gates.
I mean, he was rolling.
Can't stop him.
Hey, thank you, Don. All right, we'll be back later tonight, 7:30, Office Olympics. McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk has been canceled today because A.J. Hawk has another show with Brady Quinn.
Unbelievable.
So we'll be back tomorrow with McAfee and Hawk. Tonight, Office Olympics, 7:30. We have a pizza basketball relay. Going to want to watch it. I assume Zito and I potentially puke. Let's have a day. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're the greatest. This has been the Pat McAfee Show.